Mom, did you do something different with your makeup today?
No, I don't even have makeup on. What are you talking about?
Because we're doing Rocky Horror Picture Show, bitches! Roll the music! It's finally here! We're here! We're doing it!
Yes. We have decided, because it's our podcast and we can do whatever we want.
Free will.
We've decided we made it way too long. We are doing Rocky Horror Picture Show today. I
Yeah.
did my best. I don't know how good it looks, but I did
It
my best.
looks good. I'm repping golf for the inlight for the Masters, and then I
Nice.
just zoomed in on here and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, you look amazing.
I do. Okay, so I do. We're obviously not sponsored by anybody,
No.
but I do. Okay, so I want to
Maybe
give like a,
one day.
yeah, maybe one day.
Come on.
So I needed like the perfect red. Now this is with like some black liner, just like he did in the movie.
Hmm.
But I got these great lipsticks from this place called Necromancy Cosmetica.
Love.
It's freaking cool. Okay. And this is called Bitch Witched. Bitched Witch, which I
They
love.
have, yeah, they have beautiful, first of all, not just beautiful shades, but they have beautiful packaging.
Like I'm in love. I have so many lipsticks because of this podcast, but it's refillable. So then when you just buy the refills, they are in Puerto Rico. It's a very small business. They make small batches, but this is made of wood and then you just refill it. It's
And
so
it
gorgeous.
feels so nice.
It
Like, it
is.
doesn't feel like the cheap, like, plasticky, like something that you would get from, like, the drugstore. Like, it feels like luxury brand.
Yeah, it's just I just want to mention that. I mean,
Yeah.
half the
Shout
people are
out to
like, we don't give a
Necromancy
shit. But to
Company.
get this lip, usually I have to put on like four different reds to get a good red.
Mhm.
But this red, it's gorgeous. I got like they've got like earth tones and mauves and gray, like super cool. And they're all like really neat names. So if you want to support a small business, Necromancy Cosmetica in Puerto Rico, you can go on the
Yeah.
website. It's cool. Again, not sponsored, but I just thought it was really cool. And I
Shout out to
really,
them for this makeup look.
yeah. Thank you to them for half of this makeup look.
Long-lasting
Yeah.
lipstick.
Right. Yeah. So it is finally here. We are doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975. I do want to, because this was made in 75, this is 51 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So things were different back then. They might use, like I know they use the word transvestite.
Yeah, just like different terminology and
Right.
situations that are definitely not normalized today, like not
Correct.
appropriate for the
Yes.
day. But again, this was made 51 years ago, and things are should be very different from what they were 51 years ago. So,
Yeah. So we're aware of there might be some language that they use that you may like, oh no, that's horrible. Like I
yeah.
don't like that. It's we're going to do the movie as is as if we're watching it in 1975 for the first
Mhm.
time. That's how we're going to review this movie. So we are aware that there's going to be some language that is no longer acceptable,
Yeah.
but in its time it was an awakening for many people that were like, "Oh, it's cool to be myself. This is great." And that's why it's become so huge with people dressing up, having fun. It's great. It's
Just normalizes sexuality because that was
mhm,
something that was so frowned upon for so long. And honestly, in some terms, like still is.
mhm,
The fact that that movie was so like that far back in years, like 51 years ago, that was like groundbreaking and like, oh my gosh, like you're gonna have somebody on stage look like that and like be so confident with themselves and their sexuality. That's insane. So,
yeah. Yeah, so again, we're aware of everything. We just wanted
mhm.
to say that. I also want to go through because I will forget. And I have a lot we did a lot of research on this.
Yeah,
That's why we took a
that's why
little
this
longer for
took
this
so
one.
long.
Because we were going to do our best to do it absolute justice. We might miss some things. We
Hmm.
apologize, but we did our best. So besides getting, our information from watching the movie itself, of course my buddy IMDb
Hmm.
also found some really great articles from the Rocky Horror Picture Show official site, Google AI. I don't know if I
Understand
need
that.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Google AI. The rockyhorror.fandom.com. wiki, and then AFI.com. I kind of smushed some things together there. So I just wanted to, those are the sources that we used for this episode. So, all right, shall we get started? So like I said, 1975. This stars, of course, the fabulous Tim Curry.
Okay.
He is, and this is how they're all displayed in the beginning, how they're all displayed. So we have Tim Curry as Frankenfurter, a scientist, Susan Sarandon as Janet Weiss, a heroine, Barry Bostwick as Brad Majors, a hero, Richard O'Brien as Riffraff, a handyman, Patricia Quinn as Magenta, a domestic, Little Nell as Columbia, a groupie, Jonathan Adams as Dr. Everett V. Scott, a rival scientist, Peter Hintwood as a Rocky Horror, a creation, Meatloaf as Eddie, the ex-delivery boy, Charles Gray as the criminologist, an expert, and then we have Jeremy Newson as Ralph Hapschatt, and Hilary Farr as Betty Hapschatt. So if you've ever watched Love It or List It, that's Hilary Farr from Love It or List It.
There you go.
That's what she was in the Rocky Horror Picture. So instead of fixing up houses, she was in the... Great for her. So
Love that.
Pretty large cast, but a good cast. So we're going to start out with Everybody Knows It, the disembodied Red Lips singing science fiction double feature. This is Magenta, the actress who plays Magenta. These are her lips, and the man that plays Riff Raff, it's his voice that she's lip singing to. And this is establishing the movie's dedication to old school sci-fi horror parodies. And this movie takes place in the 1950s.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to add before that, I had to research because I was like, he sounds a lot like Riff Raff. And it is Riff Raff. It's Richard O'Brien. But he originally is one of the main writers of the musical, like of like the thing for it. And I'm just thinking, because like as we get more into the movie, like you chose to look like Riff Raff in this whole like thing. Like he has like a hunchback and he has like a total of like 10 hairs on his head. But I just like, I don't know, for some reason, like his voice like tickles my brain. Like he just has like such a good, I don't know, pitch. Like I just like, I like the way that his voice sounds.
Do you know what other movie he was in?
What?
He was in Ever After. He's the creepy guy that buys Drew Barry from The Evil Stepmother. Remember him?
Yes.
The like sleazy guy? That is him. I was like, what was he in Ever After? I'm like, oh,
yeah, so he's typecast
perfect.
as like creepy. So after we have the beautiful double feature intro that everybody just knows and loves, now we cut to, and like the very first thing that I thought of was like Alfred Hitchcock kind of like vibe, because he just like, I don't know, like that he like starts up with like the side profile and then he frames to the like center, and he is just explaining that he is the one that's going to be framing and narrating this movie, and he is just somebody that kind of pops up when we have some very important like things that need to be dissected in order throughout the film. But he is also one that's going to point out that it's going to be highlighting some themes of like humanity that's lost or a state of lostness, or right from wrong and things like that.
And now we're going to cut to a wedding, a nice and normal basic old wedding. This is it's Betty and who is it? Betty and Ralph. Betty and Ralph come flying up.
Yes, themes we could possibly have in the film.
They come flying out of the church. You know, everyone's throwing rice, and they're like, pictures, everybody. And you can see as they're posing for pictures in the background is Tim Curry looking like he's 38 feet tall, and then we have Magenta and Riff Raff on either side of them as like the American Gothic couple.
Yeah. Like but they are very like normal. Like they don't have any makeup or anything like that on. They just both look like
they look like they're painting. They do. They're just like,
and they do look like they're in the painting. Like it's crazy. And of course, in great fashion, who's the one that catches the bouquet? It's
Janet.
This is when we first are introduced to the beautiful Susan Sarandon that plays Janet, and her very, very white bread generic Brad. And Brad is next to Ralph, who they were just at their wedding. And of course, when when Janet catches that bouquet, of course, they're like exchanging, like, oh, I know that Betty's like a great cook, and like they're just like doing like some little compliments to, the couple that they were just celebrating. And then all of a sudden, a newlywed car pulls up.
Mhm. And in good old fashion, it says, wait till tonight. She got hers, now he'll get his in shaving cream.
I had to save that for you because
Yeah.
it's
Like,
just like, what are we doing?
it's so typical 90s. Like, she just wants to be a wife and a mom.
Yeah.
Here you go. There's your stupid ring and your stupid wedding. Now I get what I get coming to me.
Yep.
Nothing. Like, doing nothing now. You cook and clean and do everything. So,
Yeah, make your
yeah, it was like,
casserole.
yeah, right. You're getting a cream of mushroom soup canister.
Ew, literally. I hope you like chicken and rice with mushroom
Oh
soup because that's what
no.
you're getting for the next 17 Thursdays of your life.
Yep, there you go, Ralph. That's what you get. You got
Ew.
yours. Yay.
Oh, crazy.
This is after they leave. Brad and Janet are kind of walking, and this is when it starts with the song "Damn It, Janet," which is a phrase I use often. Damn it, Janet.
Love it.
So this is where we really get to meet Brad and Janet. They're two wholesome conservative young people in 1950s style.
Mhm.
Inside the church, Brad proposes to Janet while we see Magenta, Riff Raff, and Columbia, which, again, Riff Raff and Magenta look just like they were like the American Gothic painting, and they make Columbia look like she's like has this old gray wig on, and she's just very
Yeah.
like, So as they're like singing, every time he says Janet, and then we hear the three of them, Columbia and Riff Raff and all them go, Janet,
Janet.
Janet,
No expression, no nothing,
Janet.
just Janet.
And then Brad, she'll go, oh, Brad. And they'll go, oh, Brad.
Brad.
Oh, Brad. It's like the greatest like background music. So they're just in this church and they're getting ready for a funeral. They just bring out the coffin while Brad and Janet are like frolicking through the
Yeah.
pews and
Did
just
not waste any time. Time is money here.
we cut back to the narrator who is labeled as the criminologist, who seems to have police statements from Brad and Janet. He's basically warning of what is to come. Like Ireland said, he's kind of going to introduce some things. Brad and Janet decide to drive to Dr. Scott's because that is the teacher that introduced them
Mhm.
and tell them the news of their
Science
engagement.
teachers for the win.
Yeah. Since he is the one that introduced them, while driving in the storm, they get a flat tire. Brad mentions that there is a castle about a mile back and they should go there and see if they could use the phone. So he's like, you just stay here. It's raining, pouring rain.
Mhm.
And Janet's like, no, I'll come with you. I would come with them too. I don't think I would stay in
Yeah,
the
why
crazy
would I
car.
stay in the car?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, no harm in getting both of us wet or whatever. And then she's like, no, bitch, I'm coming too.
Correct. Yeah, I don't blame her.
You're not leaving me here in the middle of these dark woods. Absolutely not.
Right. She's like, no, I'm not going to get murdered here. At least we'll get murdered together.
No, literally.
I could push you in front of the guy and run.
Yeah, sacrifice. No. Speaking of murder, of course, like it's again pouring rain, perfect storm, like for a nice little horror movie entrance here. And the castle that Brad was talking about, they finally approach, and it literally says enter at your own risk on the fence of the castle. So, what did they do? They're just going straight through. They're heading up to the house because they're like, well, what else, what else are we gonna do? There's no phones anywhere else, so this is what we got going on. As they approach, the Over at the Frankenstein Place song kind of starts to like play. Like we hear a little bit from Riff Raff, and Brad and Janet are finally approaching the castle, and we see like it kind of looks definitely like the Frankenstein castle, like the
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. And we see like the little light with little Riff Raff, like just like peeking out the window, like seeing like we have visitors. And then we also see as they're walking up to the house, like as they were driving past the castle, they kept getting passed by these motorcycles. And now these motorcycles are also following them to the entrance of the castle.
Yep. And then Brad and Janet, they go to the door, they ring the doorbell, and Riff Raff opens the door,
Hello.
and he's like, "Hello," and they're like, "Oh, can we use your phone?" And Riff Raff invites them inside. So this introduces the film's liminal space, a threshold between their normal lives
Mhm.
and now they're entering a chaotic world of this castle. So this is where basically they're crossing the threshold from normal to chaotic.
Definitely chaos.
I don't know what's coming. Uh, so Riffraff lets him know you're lucky you've come on one of Master's special nights. And Magenta makes her entrance by, because Brad's like, oh, we're lucky. And then you hear Lucky, and she's like, lucky, lucky, we're all lucky. And she just rolls down the banister. Yeah, she's like, ah, ha, ha, in her little maid outfit. She's great. And the clock chimes, and it's a coffin. So Riffraff opens it. There's a skeleton inside. Janet, of course, faints, because Janet really likes to faint.
I was gonna say, girl has like POTS or something because she is constantly fading.
I don't know how you faint that much,
I don't know.
unless you have a disease.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and Janet have come on the night of the Transvestite Convention, where they will witness a rare ritual dance led by Riff Raff and Magenta as they are dragged into the ballroom where the others are. So, everybody that was on the motorcycles, these are the
Mhm.
people. And this is where we start. What song?
Yes, Time Warp, the iconic Time Warp. So, and I do really love the way that they do this because they keep cutting between the narrator and the actual, like, what's happening in the ballroom. So, this is what they call their initiation ritual of eventually crossing over back into
Mm-hmm.
Transylvania, transsexual Transylvania. But they teach the audience, like, so they're teaching Brad and Janet their dance and how to participate in this non-conformist and sexualized culture that they are definitely not used to. And again, the narrator, it gets cut to him, and he has like the little, like, I don't want to say like Dance Dance Revolution kind of like footprint things. But he has like the little like footprints and then like right and left and all of these things on there. And it's just like a casual like, so you start with jumping to the left and then it cuts to the people and then it's a jump to the left and then a step to the right and then they keep going through all of the motions through the time warp.
And in case you're not familiar with the words, it is just a jump to the left and then a step to the right. With your hands on your hips, you bring your knees in tight, but it's the pelvic thrust that really drives them in. Say yay, 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 yay. Let's do the time warp again. And then I ruin it with my voice.
Yeah, well, it's better than me doing it, so that's fine. But I do really like that they literally show the narrator doing this as well. Like they
Yeah,
show him doing the pelvic thrust as well. So he
yeah,
was really getting into it.
yeah. So that's just a fun. I love how it's like it's just so early in the movie.
It just really sets the tone for how like goofy and just like, free that this movie
Hmm.
is. And then my favorite's coming up soon.
And what happens to Janet Ireland after she witnesses the time warp?
So Janet just joins them. Just kidding. Homegirl faints again.
Because there's too much sexuality.
Yeah,
We know
she's
she's
never seen so many pelvic
thrust. It
thrusts
really drove her insane.
in her entire life, and yeah, it drove her to losing consciousness multiple times.
Girl likes to faint.
Yeah.
And it's the like,
No,
ah.
it literally is so like dramatic, and she's always falling into somebody or falling into
And
something.
when you faint, it's even not like I have fainted before and it's like a face plant on the floor.
Yeah, like
You
you
just
just
go
black out and
down.
then you wake
There's
up
no
on
like,
the ground. Like she's like a damsel in distress. Exactly.
she down. Oh, geez. Yeah. So as they're singing this, we follow, like a little path, and there's a jukebox. And this is where you get to meet Columbia. She's sitting on top of the jukebox. She's got a really cool gold, like, sparkle jacket. She's got a hat on. And she does like a tap dance solo.
My
And
favorite.
she sings, yeah. And as she's tap dancing, it looks like she slips either on the floor or on the carpet. And she gives like the dirtiest look to Magenta, who
Magenta.
gives her the look back. So they
Yeah.
definitely have some beef. There's some beef there for sure.
Yeah, but we're not quite sure yet. We're just
Yeah. And
sensing it.
then while everybody's dancing, Brad and Janet, they try their Irish goodbye. They're like,
They're like, actually, we're just here to use the phone, so let's get out of here.
but as they back up, we see an elevator behind them lowering, and Janet sees who it is, and what?
Faints
Faints
again.
again.
You guessed it. Take a shot every time Janet faints.
No kidding. We'd be
You will
drunk by
not
like
make
the
it to
first
the
five
end of the
minutes.
movie.
Damn it, Janet.
Literally.
Oh, we're gonna introduce what song with what character?
Our king, Sweet Transvestite by our beautiful or scientist, Dr. Frankenfurter, with our beautiful Tim Curry. Hello? I was saying
Jim
Kim.
Carrey.
Like mix Jim Carrey and Tim Curry together. I don't know. Honestly, not a bad.
I think he would be good.
I think that would be great. I love Jim Carrey
Hmm.
too. But Tim Curry, and he is looking just absolutely phenomenal. I do not know what it is about fishnets and a corset, but literally you will see everybody in this film and when I say everybody, I mean almost everybody wear a
Mhm.
corset and fishnets in some type of capacity, and everybody just looks so goddamn good in them. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just amazing. Anyways, in this
Sorry.
super dramatic fashion, our king is going down the elevator, makes his royal entrance, and he is just so fine. Like, he enters and he's just so confident and amazing, and he starts singing Sweet Transvestite. He's saying that he's from transsexual Transylvania, and I just want his entire outfit. Like, I feel like, I know that these aren't Betty Johnson heels, but like that's something Betsy Johnson would design.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing.
They're really great. And I love how he comes down and he's tapping his foot
Hmm.
and you see the heels and he just like comes out and he's like full glam. He looks great. And he's like,
Hmm.
how'd you do? I see you've met my faithful handyman. And he's so charismatic. I think that's why I love him so much.
Yeah.
I just cannot get enough of Tim Curry. And I'll say this every time, and everyone's like, we're so sick of hearing it. He is so charismatic. And the way he can, you know,
The enunciation that he has, like
is
in
like,
this film specifically too, because like in like Clue he's very proper, right? But in this film, like it's just the way that he enunciates things that it's
he's so
just like
confident.
it's so sexy,
Confidence.
it's so confident, and it's
Mhm.
just like, ugh, like I don't know, I get the chills every time when this scene comes up.
Mhm.
Every time. No
Yes,
fail.
his introduction is fantastic. Frank comes down the elevator, like we said, tapping his foot. It's very, very cool. He is wearing a backwards sparkly corset, big pearls around his neck, like huge, like they're like this big. They're like Marge Simpson pearls, pretty much. He has thigh-high fishnets attached to his garter, a black bikini underwear, and some really sweet heels, which are very sparkly, like you said, like Betsy Johnson would make with a white heel. It's like a silver heel because it's
Yeah.
all sparkly. And when Brad and Janice see this, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And
You
they're kind
can
of like,
tell that they've always dressed like the little like what are those things called? Like the little poodle skirts and like all
"Yeah,
that stuff because it's in the 50s, so they've never quite seen anything like this.
right." So this is a whole nother world.
Hmm.
And I love as he like does his little dance and looks them up and down. He gets back into the elevator
Hmm.
and he says, "So come up to the lab and see what's on the slab. I see you shiver with anticipation."
Ugh. And I'm pretty sure Janet faints again
I was like,
because it zooms in on Janet's face when he's like Antissa. And then she's like anticipating what he's gonna
yeah,
say. And then I'm pretty sure after he says patient, then she's
yeah.
just for
And
like
then
pound number 7 or something of her fainting.
and then he says, "But maybe the rain isn't to blame, so I'll remove the cause, but not the symptom."
Hmm.
And then he goes,
And then he just goes up the elevator.
"Great. I mean, what a great entrance." So this is him inviting them up to the lab.
Yeah, and as they, are trying to reconnect or recollect themselves really from what they just saw, because Brad and Jana are both kind of shook up from this because they've
Yeah.
never quite seen this before. They're just like standing in the middle of the ballroom. The other people are still just like laying on the floor. And then they like, you can see that they're starting to like go up to the lab as well. So they start to leave. And then all we just see is Magenta and who's the other one that's stripping them down?
Riff Raff.
Riff Raff, yeah. Riff Raff is like stripping down Janet, and Magenta is just like starting to unbuckle Brad's pants, like,
And she just
and
pulls him down.
yes, and Janet's the one that's like, no, like Brad, like we have to get out of here, and Brad's like, oh, like don't be silly, like it's fine, like just like let's not be rude here, we'll just let them do whatever they're doing. I'm like, so this is where you're not drawing the line?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're just
this is
getting
fine.
stripped
Yeah.
down. So they're in their tidy whities. Like Janet's in like this, like, of course, like half length white underskirt and her bra, and then Brad's in like these tidy whities,
Like super tidy
like
whities.
like butt cheek
Yeah.
down, like tidy whities, and
Super
like
tidy
this like
whities.
wife beater.
Yeah.
And then they eventually all get put into the elevator and are going to get on their way.
Yep. So they get up in the elevator, they get to they're going up to the lab, and Brad asks if, I think he asked one of them if they're married to
Yeah,
Frankenfurter.
I think he asked Magenta if he was
Magenta.
married
I would assume he
to
would only ask
he was
Magenta because
married to
they are.
Frankenfurter, and Riff Raff responds with, "Oh no, the master is not married, and I don't think he
I think
ever
I
will
ever will.
be."
Yeah. So as we go up, we see Tim Curry just standing there. And he's like in a green lab coat with pink like dishwashing gloves. Okay. Bright pink. He's got his pearls on. And then he sends Magenta and Columbia to help Riff Raff after Riff Raff handed him champagne for some weird reason, while Frankenfurter is going to entertain Brad and Janet.
Mhm.
So he likes Brad's strong handshake and he kisses Janet's hand and says, Enchanté.
And
You
she's
know,
like,
she's like, and he says, how nice and what charming underclothes you both have, and gives them the lab coats to put on so they feel less vulnerable.
I can't.
Yeah.
And so Frankenfurter is definitely like always the center of attention and just like the hostess with the mostest. So he kind of turns to his like the group that was doing the time warp dance from before. They're just kind of like up at the top, like watching over as they're about to show the creation here. But he kind of talks out loud and is just saying, well, it's not often that we get visitors or even show them any kind of hospitality. And then now Brad's gonna be all macho man. Not when he's getting his buckle undone, not when he's like seeing all
Yeah.
this for the first time, but now he's choosing to be macho. And he's just like, what are you talking about hospitality? All we wanted to do was use the damn phone, like, which you ignored us, and blah, 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 blah. And Janet, of course, now the tables have turned. And she's like, now, Brad, don't be ungrateful. Like, because you
Mhm.
can tell that she's kind of she's liking the vibes that she's feeling here. Um, and Brad is getting intense. Like, he's like, ungrateful, and the manly thing to do. It's not like the hold my earrings, it's the take
Yeah.
off the glasses so I
Takes off the
can't see when
glasses.
I'm about to hit
Mhm.
you. And that just, Frank, it sends him in a frenzy because he's just like, ugh, I love how forceful you are. Such a perfect specimen of manhood. So dominant. And you can tell
Mhm.
that there's something going on with Brad at that moment. And he
Yeah.
like closes his robe and they
Well,
all
because
start
he looks down
staring.
at Brad, like Brad's business,
Yep.
and then he looks up, and
Yep.
then that's when Brad's like, and then this is where we start to see Brad and Janet's conservative inhibitions break, and will slowly lead them on a journey of sexual awakening. So this
Mhm.
is kind of like the spark that's going to start this whole thing. Frank is going to reveal his creation, and by accident, he says he has discovered the secret of life itself. And he really likes snapping those pink gloves. Janet claps, and the other guests use noisemakers. So they got those little, like, spinning noisemakers. And he gives the spark of life to Rocky, who is his creation. And we see a body in a tank wrapped in gauze, just kind of floating in a tank of water. And Riff Raff adds electricity as Frankenfurter adds colors. He's just
Yeah.
frantically
And
turning these colors.
in the tank you can then see the layering of the colors almost of
Yeah.
the rainbow. It's very cool.
And then Janet's like, Brad. And he's like, it's okay, Janet. You know,
Yeah.
one of those
I'll
things.
protect you. I'm macho.
Yeah, I'll take off my glasses again.
Literally.
And it's alive! The creature climbs out of the tank, and Frank gasps, oh, Rocky.
Mm-hmm. Our man.
And here comes Rocky, Ireland.
Yeah, so now we're coming into two songs here. So we have Rocky is coming in or out of his tank, and of course, because Riff Raff is, I don't know if he's jealous or if he's just like a trickster. Like, we don't really feel the vibe yet. But he literally is like, because Rocky's holding on to what I could assume was like the little like chandelier thing with the colors on it. And Riff Raff like puts it up, so now Rocky's just like dangling from the ceiling and he's like singing. And obviously scared because he is not supposed to be living. He's literally just like he's a new creation, so he's like how the hell did I get here? And then it's just funny because Frankenfurter's interactions with Riff Raff are so hilarious. He like just like kicks him in the back of the head and then he lowers him back down. And as he's singing, like they're starting to cut off his bandages, like Magenta and Columbia are starting to like expose him, and he is just like a beautiful specimen. Like you can definitely tell that he was like almost like a sculpture. It's like insane. He has blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's just like bodybuilder material. And as he's realizing, like, oh my God, I'm a living, breathing being, he's like scared for his life because this is the very first steps that he's taking. And also, Frankenfurter's just like sprinting after him because Frankenfurter just has so much lust and like so much just like,
Yeah.
he's craving him so much because he's obviously built him, but also like he's beautiful. So that was the reason that he was built, was to be like
His lover.
his lover. So Frankenfurter's literally chasing him around, and Rocky's like kind of scared for his life a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Frank finally catches up with Rocky and he scolds him. He's like, this is how to act on your first, 5 minutes out of the tank kind of thing. But of course he forgives him because
Because he's gorgeous.
yeah, because he's gorgeous. He's like, but I forgive you. And Riff Raff says, he's a triumph of your genius, master. Magenta says, a triumph of your will. And Columbia says, he's okay. Then you get awkward stares from Frank, Riff Raff, and Magenta. They stare at her.
They're just like, really, was that really the thing you wanted to say? Okay.
Yes. And then Frank's like, okay, I think we can do better than that. And he brings Rocky to Brad and Janet. And then Janet goes, I don't like men with too many muscles. And then he says, well, I didn't make them for you. And then he carries the Charles Atlas seal of approval. And then this is, since it's Rocky's birthday, Frank gives Rocky a weight set and he starts singing, I Can Make You a Man. And he's just like singing and giving him these gifts. He gives him this like pommel horse. That's what they're called, right? The pommel horses.
Like in gymnastics.
Yeah. And Rocky like does some like a little bit of stuff. And when he gets off, Frank like jumps on it like a horse. And he's singing. He's like he's doing
Yeah, he's like humping him while he's singing. I mean, let the man live.
this like labyrinth all over again with Jared and his thrusting.
No.
And then 4 Christmases with
Yeah.
with the brother going.
Yeah. And then
And now we got
Dolly.
Frank. Yes. Yeah.
And
throws
now
him
we
the
have
dollar.
Frankenfurter and the pommel horse.
Yes.
But to be fair, he's a very sexual being, so
He's very
let the man
sexual.
live.
Right. Yeah. No judgment here. And so he says, like, when he's singing this, I Can Make You a Man, he's basically highlights his role as the creator and controlling figure because he wants Rocky to do. That's why he was like, when Rocky was running away, he was really pissed off because he's like, no, you only listen to me,
Yeah. I made you for me.
And then while Rocky acts like a childlike swashbuckler archetype. So it's kind of like he's like this, like muscle, like, I will save you all. And then like Frank's that controlling, I made you, you got to do what I say or I'm going to get mad. So, and what happens?
So as this happens right now, finally Rocky and Frank are just kind of like against a door. And the door is apparently a deep freezer. So when they are there, the deep freeze alarm just like randomly starts to go off and the door starts to open. And Columbia starts to yell the name Eddie. And we're like, what the heck? Eddie? And literally like a bat out of hell, Eddie, our King Meatloaf, Eddie is driving out on his motorcycle full force and just like spinning it out like around the little lab and starts singing his song Hot Patootie, but which is like it has like bless my soul in parentheses, and he has like this big incision on his forehead, so we can assume that Frankenfurter used part of his brain to make Rocky.
Yep. So he heads over to Brad and Janet while he's singing. Columbia hugs him because she's like, Eddie, she's so excited, and they start dancing. Frank is not happy because now people are paying attention to Eddie and not Rocky or Frank.
Yeah.
And Eddie's got everyone dancing. He plays the sweet like sax solo and then starts rolling around with Columbia on the floor. Who knows what they're gonna do? Hey, great, doesn't matter. And then Rocky starts dancing and now Frank is pissed. So he throws Rocky in the elevator and locks it. So he's in that like caged elevator
Mhm.
and he locks him in. Eddie drives his bike up the ramp through all the Transylvanians that were standing, like, because it's like a thing. So he drives up to the ramp and he puts Columbia on the back, and it's like he's gonna drive off with Columbia. And Frank has gone into the freezer to get a pickaxe, and he chases Eddie with it. And
Mhm.
then Eddie crawls, as he's like crawling backwards, trying to
Trying
get
to get
away from him
away.
and running, he runs into the freezer. And we don't see it, it's off screen, but we know what's happening because Frank comes out. Columbia screams like no, and then Frank comes out covered in blood with the pickaxe, and there's like, and he goes like this with his gloves,
Yeah, so
and then
Magenta
Magenta
pulls off
pulls
his
off the
gloves.
gloves, slap, snap, snap, and yeah, so we know that Eddie's dead.
Yeah. And to kind of cut Frankenfurter back into reality, Rocky's like banging on the elevator and he's just like, oh, baby. And he like runs and goes to let him out. And like it's so strange how he just like flips that switch of like, okay, I just murdered someone, but now he's going back into singing like, I'll make you a, what is it? I'll make you a man.
Yeah, in
Um,
just 7 days.
and then he just like starts saying like, don't worry, like, don't be upset. Like, now he's acknowledging it. And he says that it was a mercy killing, that he had very naive charm, and that's why he used part of his brain, but he had no muscle. So he kind of used what he liked from Eddie to put into Rocky to make the perfect man.
Yep, and then Rocky does his thing
Mhm.
when he says he didn't have muscle, and that's when he goes back into he's like ooh, and then he goes back into the I can make you a man in just 7 days. He can make you a man, and then Riff Raff and Magenta take off Frank's lab coat. We hear Janet sing, and then she's like, "I'm a muscle fan," after she said like,
After she literally just said in front of her man who is not muscular, like, I don't really like men with muscles.
"Damn it, Janet, no one cares."
Just
Seriously.
go faint again, girl.
Yes. Riff Raff and Magenta open a curtain where there's a large bed with F and R pillows.
Cute
I
little
think it's like a
monogram.
round bed. Yeah, it's really like dramatic. It's like there's like a
Mhm.
stained glass window and everything like that. We hear wedding music as they make their way to the bedroom, Frank and Rocky, and the curtain closes, and then we hear a cymbal sound like
Yeah, gosh.
what's that for?
So now we cut back to the narrator, the criminologist, and he tells everybody that everyone has departed the party except Brad and Janet are still there. But in order to stay there with their hospitality, Brad and Janet have to be in separate rooms. And it's kind of creepy because we can kind of see like the live feed from the cameras of the rooms, and Riff Raff and Magenta, all they're missing is their popcorn to watch what's going on in these rooms.
Yes, yes. Yeah, very voyeuristic. Okay, so now we're gonna cut to the dual seductions of Brad and Janet. Okay, so there is a knock on Janet's door, and he says it's Brad. So she's like, "Come on in," and he gets on top of Janet and starts kissing her. She's all into it, and then she pulls off his wig, and
Wig
it's Frank.
stat.
Yeah, and then it's Frank, and she's like, it's you. And he's like, well, isn't this nice? Well, she hits him in the chest, yelling, Beast, you monster! Oh, what have you done with Brad? And of course, he says, well, nothing. Why? Do you think I should? I love that. Janet says, you tricked me. I would never. I was saving myself. And then Frank says, well, I'm sure you're not all spent. And then Janet says, okay, promise you won't tell Brad.
Yeah, like that took so much convincing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, promise you won't tell. And he says, cross my heart and hope to die.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, Riff Raff and Magenta see Rocky sleeping in the bed. His legs are chained.
Mhm.
He's like laying flat on the bed sleeping. And Riff Raff grabs a candelabra, like a big old candelabra, and he like
Yeah.
burns
Just
Rocky
like
with it.
just like Frankenstein, how he
Just
was
like,
scared of the fire. Like I'm pretty sure it's the exact same thing. Like he took this candelabra and Rocky's like, "Oh, fire bad." Like,
yeah,
"Oh, get that away from me." But it scares him so much that he literally rips his chains like out from the floor because a part of his thing is he's so muscular and he's very strong. So he can rip out his like little like feet things, the chains that were attached to his ankles out of the floor, and then he just like makes a break for it to the elevator shaft.
yep. And then Janet runs into Brad's room and tells him this place is no good. And Brad cuddles with Janet, and she tells Brad, "You're so strong and protective." And then her wig comes off. It's Frank.
Yeah, I was like, just kidding. It's Frank
Frank.
again.
And
And it's
Brad's
literally like the same interaction as the one he just had with Janet. So
literally.
Brad's like, you, what have you done with Janet? And of course, the same reaction. Nothing. Why? Should I?
Do you think I should?
And Brad's just basically saying, like, oh, you tricked me, you monster, blah, 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 blah. And then Frank starts kissing him. And then he, like, you can tell that he's like, oh, no, please stop. No, keep going. Like, it's like one of those things. And Brad says, like, this is your fault, like, screaming for Janet. And Frank is just like, don't tell Janet. Like she's already sleeping by now. Like, shut up. And then Brad's like, are you sure that you won't tell anybody? Exact same conversation they just had with Janet. And Frank's like, on my mother's grave. And then he's going to town.
Yeah. And Riff Raff pops up on the monitor in Brad's room and tells Frank that Rocky has gotten away and vanished. It shows Rocky outside and he's running away from like wolves. Poor guy, he's
Yeah,
like
they're
scared to
literally
death. Yeah.
sprinting after him.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the whole Frankenstein being chased by
Mhm.
like a
A
mobs
mob of
or
people.
yeah, and
Mhm.
like dogs and all that kind of stuff. So now we're gonna cut to another
So
scene.
now we're just watching Janet's sexual awakening in live time here. That's just the best way I could describe it. Janet's just so ashamed of what she just did with Frank, which is like why it's Tim Curry, my king. So like good for you, girl. But she's ashamed and she thinks that she's a bad person because she definitely just cheated on Brad. So it's hard to live with. And she's just wandering around in the lab and she turns on the monitor and then you just see Brad sitting on the edge of the bed with a cigarette and Frank's just like laying in the bed just like so proud of himself. And now Janet's just like, God damn it. Like, how could you do this to me, Brad? Like, I thought I was the only
Yeah.
hoe. Now you're a hoe too. And then out of like the background, she kind of hears like some whimpering and some crying, and it's Rocky. He's just back in his tank. And he's just hurt. Like, you can see all the cuts and scrapes and stuff like that. And she's just like, "Aw, you poor baby. Like, I will like mend to your wounds. Like, I'll care for you." And then she like rips off a part of her slip dress and starts bandaging him. And as they're doing this, Rocky's like making an advance at her because that's all Rocky knows is
Yeah.
that because that's what he's created for. Like he just puts his hand over her hand. And then like the light bulb goes on for Janet and she's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Brad already was with Dr. Frankenfurter.
Mhm.
So, okay, I'm finding my sexual awakening. This guy is hot as hell. So I'm
Yeah.
going to get some of
And
that.
now I like muscles. After I
Yeah.
just
And
said
now
I
she
didn't
likes
like
muscles.
muscles.
She's saying about it, so it's official. And so this is where she's singing Touch It, Touch It, Touch Me.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Magenta and Columbia. Columbia's doing like Magenta's toenails, painting it, and like I think Magenta's like
Like
filing her
filing
nails
her
and
nails
stuff.
or
Yeah.
something.
And they're watching about it, and then Janet starts to sing and they're like, "Tell us about it, Janet."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she sings "Touch Touch 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 Me." Creature of the night, and this is them like she puts her hands Rocky's hands on her boobs and lets him touch her and all this stuff, and he's all
Yeah,
like
sure, why not?
this is great, awesome. So Magenta and Columbia are basically making fun of her because she was a virgin until this night, and they're like, what, really? So Janet gets what she came for. She's happy, she's all good. She has expressed her newfound sexual freedom. Good for you, Janet.
Yeah, and as that's unfolding in the lab,
Mm-hmm.
we now cut to Frank just whipping the shit out of Riff Raff in the lab as well. Like he has a full on like whip.
Yeah.
And he's pissed that Rocky got loose because he knows that there's some shady shit going on. He's like, how could you have done this? Like you literally had one job. Literally one job.
Yeah.
And Riff Raff's excuse is, well, I just stepped away for 1 second, and it's just like, sure. And then now we see a little on the TV, there's somebody at the door. Who's at the door?
I can't. This is Dr. Scott, and he's not been invited. Okay, this is the Dr. Scott that Brad and Janet were trying to go see because he's the science teacher that introduced them.
Mhm.
And he's literally just like in this like the front forest of the property. He's in a wheelchair. It's raining.
Mm-hmm.
He has an umbrella. He has a blanket over his legs. He also
Hmm.
has binoculars. So he's holding like the umbrella and the binoculars. He's like,
He was like
mm-hmm.
bird watching before this or
Yeah.
something. Like,
But it's raining, so I'm like, this poor man, how is he going to get through all that mud? Because it's like mud and
mhm.
it's wet. It's been raining all night. So Brad is sees him on the, he's like, oh, Dr. Scott. And then Frank is like, how do you know Dr. Scott? That's weird. That's interesting. Did he send you here to like spy on
Yeah,
me?
so this isn't a coincidence that he's here then, huh?
Yeah. Because Frank knows Dr. Scott as well.
Hmm.
So he's like, oh, Brad and Dr. Scott are in cahoots, because Dr. Scott is also a scientist. And so he's like, oh, I knew it. I knew you were here, like planted here. And he's like, no, we were on our way to see him, kind of thing. And so Frank's like, oh, it looks like he made it to the Zen room. So he went into the house
Yeah.
and he's in the Zen room. And then how does Frank get him to come by them in the lab?
So Frank has this like magnet thing that he just like that he like switches on the wall where it had like where all of his like oscillators and stuff were before. And as he does this, like now Dr. Scott's wheelchair is just getting pulled like in a trail like all throughout the house. Like you see him like whizzing through like the hallways and through the different
He
rooms
goes,
and
he goes in
stuff.
the room with Magenta and Columbia.
Yeah, he's just like there. And then the major entrance into the lab is not through the doorway, it's through the freaking wall. He goes through the
The
wall.
tiled wall. This poor man. Yes. And he's still pulled to the magnet thing. So after he gets pulled through the wall, he's like stuck to the wall next to Frankenfurter.
Yep.
And then Brad says, "Great Scott." And then Doctor says, "Brad, what are you doing here?" And then Frank thinks this is not a coincidence and tells Dr. Scott that he hopes he is adaptable, because I know Brad is. And Dr. Scott says, "I'm here for Eddie, my nephew." And then Frank's like, "Eddie?"
What? Eddie?
Okay. And then we hear some noises coming from Rocky's tank because they're in the lab.
Hmm.
Janet pops up with a sheet wrapped around her. Then Rocky pops up as well.
This is when we have like a 5 minute exchange of like, it's like Janet, Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
He's like,
He goes,
Brad.
he goes, Janet, Dr. Scott, Janet, Brad, Rocky. And Rocky just goes
Yeah, he
like a
does
stare at him. Yeah. And it does it like 7 times. And then Frank tells Rocky, I made you and I can break you just as easily, because he is pissed off that he was
Yeah.
with Janet. And he's
I
pissed at
brought you
Janet
into
too.
this world, I can sure damn as hell take you out of it.
I was like, wait, are you a parent from the 70s and 80s?
Literally.
That
That
sounds,
was my thought.
I've heard that before. I put you in this world, I could take you out just as easily. And then Magenta, as they're like figuring all this shit out, Magenta comes in and bangs the gong and she says, Master, dinner is prepared. And he's like, excellent. Under the circumstances, formal dress is to be optional. And he looks at Janet like,
And she's just still in her bra and underwear, like, girls
and
just
and
rock.
like it's literally just she's torn off so much of the slip that it's literally just a band and then like little pieces of slip left. So
Yeah,
it's not even like, it's just like funny, like why do you even have that on?
right.
Yeah. So dinner time.
Yeah, so they're all gathered around the table and they bring out like what they assume is like this like turkey, you know. Yeah, we'll find out later. But it's just this large piece of meat and then they have an electrical carving knife with it. And Frankenfurter literally standing up just carving the shit out of this piece of meat.
Yeah.
And then they're just like making small talk around the table. But as they're doing that, Magenta's like pouring wine. Rocky is like starting to drink it, and Frank is like threatening him with the knife from across the
He
table,
goes,
like, hey, yeah, like there's no more shit from you here. And he gives a toast to absent friends, Eddie, rip Eddie, and also a happy birthday to Rocky, because this is still his first day on Earth, and it's so eventful.
yes.
So this is when Dr. Scott is starting to make like that small talk, like, well, I came here for Eddie, so where the hell is he?
Hmm. Yeah. And when he says the name Eddie, Columbia's at the dinner table. She goes, Eddie? And that's when Frankenfurter goes, "Bzzz," like
Yeah,
telling her to shut up,
get the
with
hell out
the
of here.
knife. Yeah. And then Frank points the knife at her. And he gives her the look, the evil, like the parent look,
Hmm.
like, oh, that look. And he says, "That's a rather tender subject. Another slice, anyone?" And he smiles. He's like, and then that's when Columbia, Janet, and Brad look at their plates and they put their silverware down.
Yeah.
And why were they kind of like
They're
upset?
he can only have insinuated that they're literally eating the meat that's Eddie. They're eating Eddie.
They're eating
So,
Eddie. Yeah, because Columbia's like, "I'm out. Bye.
and
I
they all
need to be
caught in
excused."
that, and now that's why no one's eating.
Yes. And Dr. Scott, he gets a song in this too. He starts singing Eddie's Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
And this sings about his life and how he was a no good kid. And Columbia's in her room also kind of singing at the same time about Eddie. And she says she nearly loved him.
Yeah, she has
And
like a whole
then,
shrine for
hmm
him in her room. Like it's so
yeah,
sweet. You can definitely tell that they were in love.
yeah. And that's when Frank pulls off the tablecloth to reveal Eddie's body in a coffin under the table.
Nice. And of course, when this happens, Janet doesn't faint this time, but she is screaming. And whose arms does she run into?
Right? Because of
Yeah,
course she does. Yeah.
Frankenfurter is pissed.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, "Rocky, how could you?" And then he throws Rocky to the side and he slaps Janet right in the face and chases her around the castle while Brad and Dr. Scott follow. Like Brad's pushing
No
Dr.
reason.
Scott through this castle, yeah. And so he catches up with her and he sings "You Better Wise Up, Janet Weiss." I think it's Janet Schmanet Planet is what the
Mhm.
song is called, I believe.
Something.
And then he's basically telling her like, "You're boring. Like, why would he choose you?" And he says, "You're about as sensual as a pencil. When we made it, did you hear a bell?" And then Janet, Dr. Scott, and Brad are with Frank in the lab, and he's going to use his sonic transducer to send them to like another planet. I guess it's kind of like Star Trek, where
Mm-hmm.
it, like beams them somewhere
That is
else.
Wi-Fi.
Their legs are stuck to the floor. Dr. Scott's wheels are stuck to the floor,
I
and
I can't move my legs. I can't move my legs. And then he goes, my wheels. I can't feel my wheels.
yeah, and so Brad sings like, "You're," I think he says, "You're a hot dog, Frankenfurter. You better not try to hurt her." Wait, I think is it, "You're a hot dog. You better not try to hurt her, Frankenfurter."
Mm-hmm.
And then they turn Brad to stone, and it's like the thing that's pulled down says Medusa. So he's
Mm-hmm.
turned to stone, and his statue's completely naked. So it's like the statue of David.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got all its
Showed it all.
business. Yep, it's all there. And then Dr. Scott sings, same thing, "You're a hot dog. You better not try to hurt her, Frankenfurter." Turns him into stone. I think he just stays as is.
Wheelchair and all. Yeah,
I don't
I
think they
think he's
sexualize
fully
him. I think
clothed.
he's good. He's just in a wheelchair. They're like, "You have enough to think about." And then Janet goes, "You're a hot dog." And then he just right
Yes.
away. And she's like, I think is she like this or is
He's,
she like this?
uh,
Like this. Yeah, and then she freezes and it's like, it shows everything.
yeah.
And then Columbia comes out. She's had enough. She's just pissed about Eddie and everything and just how he's been treating people. She says, "Frank has played with her emotions too many times. He spurned her for Eddie, and then you throw Eddie away like an old overcoat for Rocky. You chew people up and you spit them out. I loved you. Like a sponge, you just take, take, take. It's me or Rocky, named for the rocks in his head." Well, Frank chooses Rocky and then turns her into stone. And I think she's like this.
She's fully naked too.
Yeah. And I think her pose is
Yeah,
like
like
that.
she's
Yeah.
like hands on hips mad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rocky's starting, he looks up at Rocky, who is posing. So he's just like doing like his man pose. And he just turns him into stone too. And Frank kind of tells Riff Raff Magenta, Rocky's starting to act like Eddie. "Do you think I made a mistake splitting his brain between the two of them?"
Mm-hmm.
So Magenta has kind of had it too. All she wants to do is go home. And she says, "I asked for nothing, master." And he says, "And you will receive it in abundance." Rude.
Okay, bud. Yeah, that's kind of hard. And now we're getting to the iconic floor show. And this is when all of the statues are now in the corsets, in the fishnets, and they're still in stone, but one by one they do start to get reversed, I guess is the best way I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
it's like the reverse Medusa or something it's called.
Yeah, exactly. It probably just flips it up then.
Right.
But Frank has like this cold cream all over his
Mhm.
face. He's got his hair up, and he's again dressing Rocky and all the others in the heels, fishnets, corsets, feather boas, all of the
Mhm.
necessities. And the first one he unfreezes is Columbia, and she starts singing about how she fell in love with Frank, and then she was replaced, and then everybody ultimately was replaced by Rocky, and then without 5 seconds later, Rocky is unfrozen and he's only about 7 hours old and full of lust because that's all he was created for. Then Brad is unfrozen and he sings about, being sexually awakened by a man. And he's just like, Mommy, I kind of want to go home, but I also kind of love this feeling. Like, why do I feel so free? And then Janet's unfrozen and she just feels this sexual release and her confidence is like overpowering her and she's never felt this way before. And then we start to have our king.
Yep. Trumpets go off, and we see Frank at the top of the stairs. There's like a stairs, and it's like a tower behind him. It kind of looks like the old like Radio City black and white. It says an RKO radio picture behind him, and of course me, my ADHD's like RKO Randy Orton.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I can think of. And
Literally.
I was like, oh, Randy Orton's in this. He's gonna RKO him. That would be great. That would be a great ending.
That would be.
Um, so Frank has also changed. So he is wearing a red corset, red shoes, and a fur, and it's like one of those old timey
Like
furs with the
fox
like
fur.
legs hanging. Like the yeah, it's grody. And he sings as he walks to the end, like he goes down the stairs, and then he walks like down this little path, and then he jumps into the pool. So he's floating on a life preserver that says the SS Titanic, which I love. And then he sings Be It, Don't Dream It. And this is like a final call to embrace their true selves, regardless of traditional morality. So he's kind of basically like, just be yourself. Just
Hmm.
be what you're feeling. Don't dream about it and say, oh, maybe one day. Just do it.
Hmm.
Don't hold yourself back. And the others are singing like they're in a trance. I feel like once they got reactivated, they're kind of like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's going on? Yeah. And they jump into the pool, and then they have an orgy because why not?
Yeah.
Why not a pool orgy? Everybody,
Well,
come on in. Come on in. The water's fine.
so our king, Dr. Scott, is just like off to the side. He's not necessarily invited to this pool orgy.
Mm-mm.
He takes off his blanket that's on his lap, and he is also wearing fishnets and heels, so
Yep.
he's definitely included. And they're out of the pool, and now they are all dancing in a chorus line, and they're doing like the Rockettes signature kicks and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they end with the rose tint my world and save me from trouble and pain.
Mm-hmm.
But they are rudely interrupted rudely because that was an iconic scene because even
Yes.
our Dr. Scott is also
Mm-hmm.
kicking in the
Yes.
chorus line.
Who's very flexible, by the way.
Very
Very
flexible, but they
flexible.
are really interrupted by Riff Raff and Magenta.
Yes. And Riff Raff and Magenta are not dressed in their normal, like, servants' clothes.
Hmm.
They are dressed in the highest and latest fashion of Transylvanian style. And Magenta's hair is modeled after the Bride of Frankenstein.
Hmm.
And Riff Raff is holding a laser. It's like a trident.
Yeah.
And that represents, in the beginning, when he was holding the pitchfork, that kind of
Hmm.
represents the pitchfork.
Oh, good
And it
catch.
like
I like
shoots
that.
shoots lasers.
Yeah.
Surprise, they're alien agents.
Hmm.
They're not servants. They tell Frank that they're going home and he has failed his mission on Earth. Like,
Hmm.
you failed, bro. So he's like, kind of like, oh, cool, I'm going home. This is great. I can't wait to go home. So he starts singing, I'm going home. So,
Yeah, as he's like singing, and this is a really touching song. Like, this is the most emotional and like open we've seen Frankenfurter because
mhm,
we're just so used to the overly confident, like sexual, like just like amazing person. And this is where we see the more sensitive and emotional side of him. So this is like a really cool development throughout the film. But he's singing that he's going home, and then
mhm,
fucking rude ass Magenta is like yawning because she's
Yeah.
just like this isn't the most iconic shit you've ever heard,
Yeah.
Magenta. Like,
Yeah.
okay, sit down.
Are you not entertained?
Literally, I'm like thinking, I'm like, girl, at least give credit where credit's due,
Yeah.
right? And he's just singing his heart out. His eyes are bloodshot because he's just sobbing and crying, and it's just like so emotional and beautiful.
Mm.
And as he's like closing his eyes, he opens them, and now the seats are in the theater are filled with people, and they're just like applauding as he's finishing his song, and it's very
Mm.
beautiful, and everybody's kind of like emotional in the corner, and I'm talking everybody like Janet and Brad and all of them. And then Magenta's bitch ass is like, oh, how sentimental. Like,
Mm.
get the fuck out of here. And Riff Raff's like, oh, what did you not get? Like, through your thick little skull, only Magenta and I are going home. Like,
Mm.
you are going to say hello to death, basically.
Yes. Say hello to death.
Literally.
Yes. And he's Riff Raff. So Riff Raff, he kills Columbia first.
Because she like screams in the
Yeah,
background.
and she like goes after them or something. And then he says, Riff Raff says, say hello to Oblivion. And then he kills Frank. Rocky is devastated, and he grabs Frank's body and roars.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like gonna since we're doing like you know how it
The
started off with
sci-fi
like
stuff.
sci-fi stuff. This is King Kong. So Rocky is obviously King Kong. He's grabbing Frank. He's climbing up that tower in the background, the RKO tower. He's
Yeah.
gonna RKO him. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, they
As
kind of low key like RKO off the top of it, so that's kind
kind
of
of,
funny.
yes. So as he gets to the top, he falls and he's like, ah, and then it falls, and then they go into the pool and they're dead. You know, or, Rocky's dead. Frank was already dead. And so Magenta goes to Riff Raff. She goes, I thought you liked them. They liked you. And Riff Raff's like, they don't like me. They've never liked me. She's like,
Like, tell me you're insecure without saying you're insecure.
right.
Like, come on.
And Dr. Scott tells Riff Raff, you did right.
Mm-hmm.
And they both turn to him, and Riff Raff says, I'm sorry about your nephew. You should all go. And we are about to beam the whole house back to the planet, transsexual, in the galaxy of Transylvania. And they let Janet, Brad, and Dr. Scott leave. And then Magenta is happy and says, our world will know the time warp again.
Yeah, and then the house just flies away.
Yep.
And we see Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott are just kind of like laying in like a fog and ash and like kind of thing. And this is when we start to listen to the superheroes and science fiction double feature reprise. So we're finalizing the end of the film here. And we just kind of see them just like again rolling around in the fog and the ash. And they're just crawling and singing the superhero song. And Dr. Scott is just like rolling around making fog
Yeah, he's like,
angels.
doo, doo,
Like
doo,
fog
doo,
angels.
doo.
He's just like
Because his wheelchair is like on top of him, and he's like, la
yeah,
la 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 la.
he's just vibing. But this is when they like the narrator's kind of telling that or kind of explaining back to us that like they're like officially broken. Like they will never be the same again. They will never be able to return to their normal lives. And there's always that trying to search for that meaning and, you know, the disconnect of humanity.
Yep. And he says, and crawling on the planet's face, some insects called the human race, lost in time and in space and meaning. Meaning. That's it.
So good.
The end. That is it. I've got some other fun stuff here.
There's just so much to do with this
So much.
film, and now I really want to watch the 50-year anniversary thing. Is that on HBO? What is that on?
I found it on YouTube,
Oh, okay.
but it might be on something else. I just watched it on YouTube because they had like a 15-minute part of it, and it was
Okay.
like Magenta, Columbia, Tim Curry, and I don't know. Oh, it was Barry Bostwick, so who played
Oh,
Brad.
so okay.
Yeah,
So
and they were like talking about like
Brad
things. Yeah, they literally wanted the actress who played Columbia in because she can tap dance. So, let's see here. Let me grab some of this stuff and see. So, okay. So, the budget was 1.5 million for this. Opening weekend, it made $7,334.
that's crazy.
Yes. This was directed by Jim Sharman, And the original author and songwriter is Richard O'Brien, which is Riff Raff.
Mhm.
But in 1976, they started showing like midnight showings. And then it started growing as like kind of like a cult following where people were dressing up and they were shouting things back at certain times. Like, every time someone says Brad Majors, you say asshole, you yell asshole. Like just fun, really cool
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Mhm.
it literally makes like 5 million per year each year. And it's over 115 million. I mean, crazy. It's on the list of
Mhm.
the top cult classic movies. It's number 2,
Mhm.
which is really cool.
That is really
Um,
cool.
but if you do ever decide to go to a live showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, here's some tips. Okay. So this is a virgin's guide to going to your first Rocky Horror Picture Show. So if you've never gone to one, you are considered a virgin. And here's what you need to do for your first time. So Rocky Horror is the first and only true audience participation movie. People yell back at the screen during extended pauses and between dialogue. So the only thing that you really need to bring is a fun sense of humor and money. Oh, and don't come drunk your first time, they say. Nobody likes a drunk person, and, it ruins the fun. You don't catch the little quips,
Mhm.
you know? And with this movie, the more you watch it, you're like,
I was just
yeah.
gonna say this is a movie where, and like before we filmed this, I watched this movie 3 separate times, and every
Mhm.
single time I watched it, I noticed something different.
Yeah. So I don't know when this was written. I think this was written in the 90s. This is the official fan page for that I had mentioned in the beginning of one of my sources. So according to them, again, I don't think they will allow any of this because we can't have fun anymore because, everything's a problem now.
We're gonna blame the millennials
Yeah. Um,
because I'm not one, so I can blame them.
Neither am I. So rice. So in the beginning of the movie, when the married couple run out of the church, you throw rice
Mm.
when everybody else in the movie is throwing rice. I'm sure you can't do that anymore.
I agree with not doing that though, because those poor people that work in the movie theaters do not get paid enough for the crap that people leave. But
Yeah, but I think they know that they're going to get a large showing. Like they could probably charge $50 a person and they're going to sell at every seat. They probably put plastic down and they prepare for things
I
and
think you have a lot
they
of trust and faith in the movie theaters because I guarantee you that none of them would do that.
yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe they would in a perfect world.
Newspapers. So when Brad and Janet are caught in the storm, Janet covers her head with a newspaper. The newspaper is called The Plain Dealer. At this point, you should also cover your head with
That's
a
fun.
bat. Water pistols. They probably won't allow us either.
Yeah.
They are used by members of the audience to simulate the rainstorm that Brad and Janet are stuck in, hence the
The
newspaper for some people that don't want to get wet. This I definitely know they won't allow. Candles.
Oh yeah.
But they also
I believe
slash,
so.
yeah, flashlights, and probably people now with their phone flashlight. During the There's a Light verse, and over at the Frankenstein's place, which is the same thing, you should light up the theater with candles, flashlights, lighters, etc. Again, this is 94. This guy's saying this, I believe, so that's a long time ago. Rubber gloves. Rubber gloves. During and after the creation speech, Frank snaps his gloves 3 times, and then Magenta pulls these gloves off of his hands. You should snap your gloves in sync each time and create a fantastic sound effect. Very fun. Noisemakers. So at the end of the creation speech, the Transylvanians respond with audience and noisemakers, and you should do the same. Confetti. Again, they probably won't allow this. At the end of the Charles Atlas song Reprise. Reprise?
Mhm.
Reprise. Okay. The Transylvanians throw confetti as Rocky and Frank head towards the bedroom. You should do the same. So, toilet paper. When Dr. Scott enters the lab, Brad cries out, "Great Scott!" So, at this point, you should hurl rolls of toilet paper into the air, preferably the Scott's brand.
See, that's a goofy one. I like that one.
That one.
That one's fun.
Toast. Yes, the bread, toast. When Frank proposes a toast at dinner, members of the audience throw toast into the air, preferably unbuttered because it can get sticky.
At least they're mindful.
Party hat. At the dinner table, when Frank pulls or puts on the party hat before he sings Rocky Happy Birthday, you should put it on and do the same.
That's fun.
And a bell. So the bell is for during the song Planet Schmanet Janet. When he says, "Did you hear a bell?" When we did it, did you hear a
Ding.
bell? Ding! There's your, you know, it's supposed to do it then. Cards, playing cards. During the song I'm Going Home, Frank sings, "Cards for sorrow, cards for pain. At this point, you should shower the theater with cards." So I'm assuming you'd go like this and it flings everywhere.
Mhm.
Hot dogs and prunes. It has happened on occasion that fans will throw hot dogs and prunes at their appropriate mention in the film. Do not do this. It attracts rodents and leaves stains on the screen. So do
Yeah.
not do. What not to wear? So, no stripes rule. It is rumored that crew members wearing striped tops were accidentally filmed during the 1975 movie, making it taboo to wear to the screenings. However, it's an urban legend, apparently. It is rumored that the crew members wearing the striped tops were accidentally filmed. The likely origin, according to the Time Warp fan site, the suggestion likely originated in The Virgin's Guide to Rocky Horror, which I'm literally reading right now, by David Freeman in 1994, which humorously listed clothes to avoid, including striped shirts. So while it's not an official rule, the prohibition against striped tops has become a solidified part of the cult, sometimes grouped with avoiding sandals. I don't know what is that, anorak? What is that? It says
I don't know.
sandals, Anoraks. I'm assuming some kind of like maybe like Birkenstocks or something.
They
I don't know
said,
what that.
put the dogs away.
Yes. And anything remotely connected with the acquisition of the British Rail rolling stock.
Oh, an anorak is a pullover style jacket for, so it's like a windbreaker kind of
Oh,
thing for protection
okay.
against wind and rain, often featuring a kangaroo pocket. Yeah, so
Oh,
it's like kind of like a windbreaker.
okay. Got it. And then many fans argue that this is not a strict rule, and others simply follow it as fun. Traditional nod to the film's history and fandom folklore. Other things you're not to wear. Suits. These are only worn by those who thought they were booking to see the Phantom of the Opera and dialed the wrong number.
Oh, I love the Phantom of the Opera.
And then, like we just went over, train spotter gear, which is the sandals, anoraks, binoculars, anything like that. Striped tops or sweatshirts,
Mhm.
suede or any material that could get ruined by water.
Yeah,
So basically, what to wear? Dress up like any of the characters, whatever you feel comfortable with, and just have fun.
that's
Just
fun.
don't be ashamed. You whatever character you like, you go for it. You go for it 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no
I
judgment.
I'm obsessed with Columbia's outfit when we first meet her. Like not at the wedding, but I
Yeah.
mean like when we first see her in the ballroom, like she has like
Hmm.
the cool like rainbow sequin like tap outfit. I'm
Yeah.
literally obsessed with it. I don't know where you would find something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
so I got some more fun facts, sort of. Let's see if I could. I printed it out because it was really interesting. So obviously, this was an initial flop. The film was a commercial failure, which released in 1975, only finding its footing later at a Midnight Interactive Shadowcast experience. The cast didn't know the house was supposed to fly until the final scene, so the house was actually just a cardboard cutout with parts of a real mansion visible behind it.
Nice. I like it.
Yes, Princess Diana was a fan of the film and requested to meet Tim Curry, telling him the movie was a major part of her youth.
Wow. What an honor from
What a freaking
literal
honor
queen.
from a
Like,
damn
love
angel.
her.
Yes, yes, that woman is like an angel.
Amazing.
So Dr. Frankenfurter wears a pink triangular brooch on his chest, historically used by Nazis to identify gay prisoners, which has since been reclaimed as a symbol of pride. This is according to Reddit. Let's see. There was another song that Brad sang called Once in a While,
We
but it
don't
was
need to
boring.
see Brad sing. I was gonna
But
say
it was boring.
shocking.
Yeah, it was boring and it just
Yeah.
brought everybody down. It kind of slowed everything down, and that's
Damn
not
it,
a movie.
Jana is perfect for him, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's all we need from Brad.
So the set. The film was shot at Oakley Court in Windsor, England, a notoriously decrepit mansion used in many Hammer horror films. It had no heat, and the crew worked in freezing conditions. They said that I think Barry Bostwick said that there was like a one room that had all these heaters for
Mhm.
them to like they would take turns like getting warm, and then it like set on fire, so they couldn't have the heaters.
We're not allowed to have space heaters anywhere.
The actors, except Tim Curry, were not told that the corpse of Eddie under the dining room table was a prop. So the reactions to the horror were genuine. Obviously,
That's scary.
Meatloaf knew as well because
Yeah, well,
he
duh,
had to
he's living
pose.
here.
Yeah. The
Oh.
iconic lips, which we already went over.
Mhm.
The opening musical science fiction double feature was sung by Richard O'Brien, who did write the show and played Riff Raff, but lip synced to Patricia Quinn's Magenta. Stiletto injury. I'm surprised there was only one.
No. Yeah, just one.
Susan Sarandon, Janet, actually injured Barry Bostwick, Brad, by stepping on his foot with a stiletto heel during the floor show. And they say you can visibly see his face kind of go like,
Yeah.
because
Well,
that's gonna hurt.
yeah. Ouch.
Original casting ideas. Mick Jagger wanted to play Dr. Frankenfurter. No.
It's hard because Tim Curry is the only one that we care about. So sorry.
Maybe David Bowie, possibly. But I don't think, I mean, obviously, I'd love to see David Bowie in fishnets and whatever. That's fine with me. But
Yeah,
I
it's
just think
Tim
Tim
Curry
Curry's
is
made, this
so
is his,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and then Steve Martin auditioned for the role of Brad.
That would have been quite interesting. A little comic relief, but I don't know. I think they actually casted it perfect. Like I don't think I could switch out anybody.
Richard O'Brien, who was Riff Raff, originally wanted to play the role of Eddie,
Wrote in
which
like the smallest part.
he's perfect as Riff Raff.
He
Like
is perfect as Riff
he
Raff.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Columbia and Magenta were originally just one character.
Okay.
So at
Hmm.
the stage play began as the stage play began casting, Sharman, who was the director, was hoping his friend Marianne Faithfull would play Frankenfurter's female counterpart, but Little Nell, who was the tap dancer Columbia, had already been cast in the production because of her tap dancing skills. And so Sharman and O'Brien, who's Riff Raff, reworked the role into two parts, Magenta and Columbia. When the time came to cast Magenta, Marianne Faithfull was busy. She's already off on a tour. So Patricia Quinn was cast. Quinn took the role despite having almost no lines. She could sing the lead song, science fiction double feature, which she called the best song I've ever heard. However, we know she didn't get to sing it in the movie
Yeah.
because she's lip syncing, but she did get to see it, sing it in the play parts
Which is
because this
cool.
was a play, yeah. So
Hmm.
that's why she's like, oh, I get to sing that, so I'll be in the movie. Wah wah. And like
That's
we
so
said,
good.
Little Nell was cast for her tap dancing skills alone. Um, so at the time the stage production was getting underway, she was working as a soda jerk in London. Sharman heard that she would perform tap dances while serving ice cream and took some collaborators to see her. She danced for them and won the role. And then Dr. Frankenfurter originally had a German accent. Taking a cue from the character's name, Tim Curry began the stage production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show by playing Frankenfurter as German. Then one day he heard a woman on a bus speaking with a particular posh accent and decided, yes, he should sound like the Queen. And he also said he put a spin on it with the Queen, between the Queen of England and his mother. That's how he came up with the.
So interesting. That is so cool.
And then we know the science fiction had two different singers from the
Mhm.
stage and the. So what else do we have here? The director agreed to a smaller budget in order to keep the original cast. So you know how
Nice.
studios are like, they're like, no, you have to have somebody famous. Susan
Mhm.
Sarandon she'd already done movies, and Barry Bostwick, so they were like, well, you have to at least have some people we know, because this
Mhm.
was Tim Curry's first actual like movie.
Like breakout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was his breakout movie, and he had done a lot of theater and stuff. That's
Hmm.
kind of where he came from. So yeah, much of the Rocky Horror Picture Show's look was inspired by an actual rotting mansion.
I believe
Yes.
it.
When they saw this mansion, they were like, this is exactly what we needed for the film, in part because the owners had essentially left it to rot.
Hmm.
They wanted to demolish it, but it was designated a historic site. He said the minute we saw it, we realized that this gave us the basis for the whole look of the movie. So a large portion of the Rocky Horror Picture Show was supposed to be in black and white, and it was supposed to show when Frankenfurter comes down for the first time. It was only his lips were only supposed to be red.
I kind of like that.
And then when he goes up to his lab and he adds the colors, that's when it turns to color.
I like that. That's very interesting. That's cool.
We already know a cardboard model was used to make the house fly. So the Rocky Horror Picture Show's famous audience participation was inspired in part by boredom. Since it was a flop, it was originally released in 1975, but as midnight showings continue, it developed a rabid cult audience with a penchant for shouting at the screen as the film played. Brian Thompson first witnessed this phenomenon at the New York Waverly Theater in 1977, and when he asked what was going on, this was the reply. We thought it was pretty boring, and we thought if we yelled back, it would be more fun. So that's how it was born.
There you go.
Yep. And then Curry was once kicked out of a screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show for being an imposter. As the film's cult following grew, Tim Curry was living in New York, just down the street from the Waverly Theater, so he often witnessed fans going to midnight showings in costume. Intrigued, he called the theater, told them who he was, and asked if he could attend. Of course, they're going to say yes.
Yeah.
The
No,
theater.
Curry, you are not allowed.
So the theater initially didn't believe him until he actually showed up one night. He says, "Finally, I showed up, and they sort of believed me and took me in." And then, while fans were delighted by Curry's presence, the theater staff still wasn't convinced, and an usher grabbed him, called him an imposter, and threw him out. Curry then took out his passport to prove that he was the real deal, but declined to go back into the theater.
Imagine trying to watch the film that you're in, and they're literally like, "Sir, what are you doing here? You are not Tim Curry. Get the hell out of here." And he literally has to show his ID.
I feel like if you and I lived in 1977, and we lived near that area where Tim Curry was, we would be like, where can we meet Tim Curry? Oh, he goes to dinner here a lot. Let's go to dinner there. We'd be like stalkers, basically.
Yeah, it would probably be borderline crazy, but
I'd be like, Tim Curry, get out of my way.
But oh my God, like Tim Curry or Alan Cumming or like one of those people. Oh my God.
Yes. This is my favorite. I know I already mentioned this, but this is my favorite because this gives a little more detail. So, of course, Princess Diana was a fan, and it has many famous fans like Meatloaf and Tim Curry actually met Elvis Presley at a Los Angeles performance of the stage production, but perhaps none more impressive than Diana, Princess of Wales. Once, while doing a theater performance in Austria, Curry was informed that the princess wanted to meet him. When they met, she told him that the film quite completed my education, apparently flashing a wicked smile as she did.
What an amazing person.
So
Literally robbed of her life. That's insane.
Literally pushed out of the way.
Yeah.
That beautiful human being. God. But I think that's it.
Yeah.
Tim Curry did say that Dr. Frankenfurter is pansexual.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's how he explains it, because obviously
that makes sense.
You know, as we grow as a society, we can, include everybody, and so he was just
label kind of what we, what maybe wasn't as, I don't know, regulated like 51 years ago. So now we actually can put like a face to a name and kind of do that as best as we can. I mean, it's not 100% certain, but from the man himself. But that does make definitely a lot.
He says it just that makes more sense, is that Frankenfurter was pansexual. So
for sure.
Which is, I think, correct.
Yeah.
So that is, that's Rocky Horror. I think we went through most everything. I hope we did it justice, because we really did a lot of research.
Yeah.
Your dad's like, "Are you still working on it?" I'm like, "Yes, I have to get this right. This is important."
Something that has to be perfect, and I think that we did an okay job. I think we're okay.
So this finishes our Tim Curry months.
Yeah, months. But we just love him so much we extended it through. But then we sprinkled a little bit the It's Florida Man in there too. So we're, keeping you fed.
Yes, that will be coming out again soon. The next couple, we might have a special guest on one of our next Florida Mans. I don't know what we're doing next. I've been trying to update the website to say coming next. It also has our most recent 6 episodes on there, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our YouTube page. Subscribe, it's free. We don't charge. It just honestly, like I get so excited seeing one more, oh my gosh, one follower, even if it's a mistake. I'm like, woo,
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
follower.
right. Even they're like,
Yes.
oh, I didn't mean to,
Yes.
sorry. But it's still
Um,
exciting for us to see that growth because it means that like we're doing this like we love to do it. That's the reason that we
mhm.
do it, but also like it's nice to have that reassurance that other people enjoy what we're doing as well.
Yeah, and see if they have the same like when we describe a movie and what it meant to us. If you feel the same, or maybe you have different, memories
Yeah.
of it.
We love to hear feedback.
Yes, I will say we did do this episode because it was recommended. We were eventually going to do it, but it was recommended by Will and Melissa.
Mhm.
So this is for you guys. I hope we did it justice.
Hope you like it.
It took a long time to get this. I just stared at
Oh
Tim
my
Curry's
gosh.
eyes for like an hour and a half trying to get it right.
Ugh.
But we hope you guys enjoy that. We hope everybody enjoys it. Yeah, and I'll try to keep the website updated with what we're going to do next. It'll be something funny. I think we're just our niche.
Lighthearted and
Yeah, lighthearted and funny, something from the
yeah.
80s or 90s.
After Legend, we have to do something good.
Legend, we had a beef with Legend. We
Legend was
beat.
hard to cover. This
Yes.
was so amazing to cover, but it was difficult in the way that we wanted to do it justice without
Hmm.
anybody because
Yeah.
it's not at the correct time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
we
So,
didn't get through everything. I mean, we didn't get through every single thing this would be 15 hours long. This would be like a whole day.
yeah.
So, but we tried to pick out the best that
Mhm.
we could. Yeah. So, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Butterscotch Rewatch, and we hope we catch you next time. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.